Um, so let's move on to seeing some of your stuff. What do you want to show us first? You mentioned some rings that you had made. Do you want to show us
sure.
that?
You want to stop before you see the studio tour?
Yeah, whatever you want to start with.
Okay, let's start with the studio tour. It's I'm gonna have to share my screen with you, so give me a second to figure that out again.
Some of us got a sneak peek of that on your Instagram, which was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's another part of the interesting thing about the intimacy is that that's part of what that's part of my brand, I guess you could say, is sharing those more intimate parts of my process. Okay, so there's like a quick little introduction of me, and then I'll switch to a second video that's the tour of the shop itself.
Okay, wonderful.
Hey everyone, welcome to my studio. I'm doing this as a little video tour because my Wi-Fi is not so strong up here, so I'm not going to be able to do it live when I'm speaking to Abra. So I'm just going to give you a little quick tour now, and we'll be meeting back live in a few minutes. Okay. So this is my main workbench, and it's a little bit of a mess right now, but I have all my tools sort of grouped around it. These different various bins contain different materials that I'm using, bits of silver and gold. You can see some gemstones on cards. Here's some tourmaline that I'm working with, making some stud earrings right now. And my little burr stand. I have a wonderful flex shaft, which is it's like for those of you who know Dremel tools, it's like a really sophisticated Dremel tool. And it has a pedal, power it. My wonderful, fantastic favorite saw frame, which is just really ergonomic and fantastic. And I have some nice lighting here that I can change the temperature of depending on what's going on with my eyes on a given day. And then of course a great view of the woods behind my house so that I can lift my eyes up from my work and look out at nature, which is super, super helpful. I have this wonderful forging bench that is by a wonderful man named Bill Fretz, who has been in the industry for a really, really long time. It's a nice bench for doing my hammer work, some forming work, shaping. I set my gemstones here. All kinds of that kind of work goes on there. And then I have my beloved mill, which is wonderful. This rolling mill is what makes it possible for me to recycle metal. So I will also do a little video to show you the process of melting down silver into a new billet or ingot. And then this is what allows me to roll it out into sheet metal. I use this middle area for rolling into sheet metal. This allows me to roll square wire. This allows me to roll half round wire for making ring bands and things like that. This wonderful workbench was built by a friend of mine. And then I have a nice strong clamp on this end, and this is called a draw plate. This is what helps me to turn my square wire into round wire. And then we'll come all the way over here, the other side of the studio. This is my soldering station, my heating station. I have a powerful, powerful exhaust system right over my soldering area. And this is called a pickle pot. It's the crock pot where I place the metal after I've heated it up, and there's a very, very eco-friendly citric-based acid called Citrax, which helps remove oxides from the outside of the metal and make it look beautiful again, helps to remove impurities when I'm creating something, and makes the surface clean so that I can do the next stage of the work. And here is just baking soda, which neutralizes that acid, and then this is just the water that I use as a rinse, and I use this teapot just for my making process. I don't drink any of the water that comes out of this. And then you can see over here I have my tank set up. So this is an oxygen and a propane tank. And so I use a mixture of propane and oxygen for my torch. And this is my torch system here. It's a really sweet little torch. Right now it has what's called the rosebud head on it, which makes a big bushy flame that allows me to heat up a large amount of metal at a time. So I'm using that when I heat up metal to create to recycle it. And you'll see that process in a few minutes when we play that video. And then just right over here is my son's workbench. So at Shelter in Place, we've been being creative as much as we can with how to make sure that I can actually get some work done. So this is where my 8-year-old son sits and does his projects, various things to keep me company while I'm out here. There for a second.
Has your son started making any jewelry of his own?
He does a lot of beading. He hasn't done any cutting or soldering or anything yet. And I'm not entirely sure. Oh, you were asking me to turn up the volume. Sorry, Margaret.
Oh, that's okay.
Could you hear me? I won't play it again.
Yeah.
I haven't started him on the real stuff yet, but we'll get there.
Is he showing an interest in it?
Very much. Yeah. He likes to just come out and watch me. Yesterday I was recycling a gold billet and he was watching me run it through the mill over and over again. I wish there was a fast way to show the process of taking the billet and rolling it out into sheet metal or into wire, but it's really a long process. Mm-hmm. But it's very cool. There's something there on my Instagram. If people go, you'll see there's a couple posts where I show the process of melting it down sort of in hyperlapse. And then if you slide over, you see the wire that results from it. It just feels like, for some reason, it's this deeper level of connection to what I'm doing, to suddenly have, to start with scrap and to end up with a completely new piece of jewelry. It feels like something different than just buying sheet and clean wire from the store and turning it into something.
Yeah. Especially if those are heirloom sentimental pieces that your customers are bringing you.
Right. Yeah, and I'm still, I still can kind of consider myself an intermediate jeweler. I'm not able to do the kind of work that Mariah is doing, for example. I don't set high carat faceted diamonds and things like that. I don't do a lot of, if I do prong setting, it's in a sort of box prong. I'm not creating a claw head. Mm-hmm. So there's something more elemental in a way, or more sort of rustic about what I'm doing, and I'm learning as I go. So.
Yeah. Well, it looks great. I love all of it, and I think your style totally is your aesthetic. Those pieces do come out perfect for you.
Yeah. I am also happy to share. So the second video that I have is the process of melting down some scrap metal into a billet and then pouring it, or melting it in my crucible and then pouring it into a very homemade mold. It's a little bit loud, so let's try and see how it goes. But the sound of the torch and the sound of the exhaust system is loud enough that it might be hard to hear me. So I'll try playing it, and if it's not flying, then we'll stop it. So I'd already melted it down once before, and I'm remelting it because it still has some impurities in it, and I wasn't happy with the shape. I think I ended up pouring it back into the crucible. Let's hope so. Yeah, this might not be as interesting as I hoped it was.
What did you make your mold out of?
That's a piece of compressed charcoal. That's one of my soldering blocks, and I just took a little head on my butt shaft and ground down a shape into it. And you can see up in the upper corner, there's two sort of half dome shapes, and those are what I use if I want to get a little ball shape. I mean, they're essentially molds, right? They're essentially like ice cube molds.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if I can find one of the sped up videos that are kind of more fun to watch. Let's see. Yeah, this is probably going to get kind of boring. I thought I did more talking, but I guess not.
How long of a process is it?
So it depends on how much metal there is. It depends on how hot your pot is. If I'm going to do more of this in bigger volumes, I should really get an acetylene torch, because oxypropane, especially with the little mini torch that I use, it's called a Smith Little. Oxyacetylene is just slow. It really takes some time. Mm-hmm. This video is about 4 minutes long. It probably takes using, and that's probably about an ounce of silver. And then of course, once it's like melted from scrap into a bulky shape, it takes longer to heat it all the way through to get it to truly melt.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually, what did you say?
Catherine's working on a puzzle there.
All right,
So for now.
I'm gonna try to show you guys a sped up video. This one is only 30 seconds long, but it's about, I think it's about sped up about 12 times, or it's somewhere between 6 and 12. Like no sound to it. So what I just poured in with the spoon is a powder called borax, and borax helps to pull out any impurities. So if the metal, especially if the metal has been used before, you don't necessarily know if it's pure, if it's an alloy as it's supposed to be. Silver, sterling silver is supposed to be 92.5% silver, and then usually copper and some other things make up the rest, usually copper mostly. And you also don't know what might be on it. So there, I melted it very quickly, right into my little mold, and it takes a while to cool down and be hard enough that you can pick it up, but usually I'll pull it out of the mold at that point. And once it's cooled down enough, it'll be bright red, and quench it in water. And then I put it in the pickle pot. So that black oxide on the outside is partly what the borax has pulled out of the silver. And then it goes into the pickle pot for a while. And sometimes I will once again heat it up if I feel like it's still pitted, or if I feel like there's still some impurities on the surface, I'll reheat it. And usually working with gold, I'm working with smaller quantities. So it's a little bit easier to get it up to a hot enough temperature to feel like I'm really burning out anything that doesn't belong there. I also usually so most of the time what most of us have, if we have something to recycle, is 14 karat gold, but I prefer to work in higher karat. So I will buy shot or buy casting grain, what's called casting grain, in 22 karat, and I'll weigh it out so that I can re-alloy the 14 karat gold to turn it into 18 karat gold.
So you're recycling both silver and gold?
I'm mostly in that video I did silver because I wanted to do a larger quantity to show, but for the most part I'm personally recycling gold, and then I collect all of my everything, sandpaper, steel wool, everything goes into a bucket, and I send it to a refiner, and they burn out absolutely everything except for the precious metals, and so everything is recycled, but I personally am only recycling the gold.
Do you have any more demonstrations for us, or do you have some jewelry to show them?
Yeah, I had another one that I was thinking about doing, but I didn't get it together.
Okay, then can you show us some jewelry?
So some of the pieces, and the fun thing is a couple of these, like this piece, so this is one that I just recently finished, and it's this incredible tourmaline slice, and the prongs and the upper part of the setting are all 18 karat gold that I recycled. So the rest of the setting is silver, but these, I'm having a hard time getting it to focus on this, but you can see the prongs are 18 karat gold. And I have been doing this sort of specimen style for a while now, and I really love it. I love letting the gemstone be the star. And I particularly love entrusting stones. Here's another one in that same style that has bolder opals.
Ooh, nice.
And again, the 18 karat gold is recycled in this one. Actually, it's a mix of recycled and virgin. I'll probably recycled. Even my supplier recycles their gold, so I'm not really using virgin gold ever. But like you said, being able to incorporate a client's metal is really a lovely part of the process. I haven't gotten around yet to creating bezel wire myself, but both of these are both cat's eye tourmaline, so they have this really cool chatoyance to them, and they have 18 karat gold bezels that are manufactured. It's hard to cut it, to roll it thin enough, and then to be able to cut it with such precision at home. However, today is supposed to be arriving a guillotine specifically from Pepe Tools, specifically for cutting thin strips of metal. So the plan is to be able to create my own bezel wire as well.
Nice. You work a lot with tourmaline. Is that one of your favorites?
I do. It is. There's a number of reasons. One is, one of the reasons is something I don't think I can quite put my finger on. It's just, I just love it. It grabbed my heart. But as you look into some of the esoteric uses of gemstones, tourmaline has a specific affinity for the heart center, and the different colors. So the pink is supposed to support the more, I hate to put it necessarily in these terms, but the more feminine aspects of compassion and of the heart center. So it, a sense of, it's supposed to nourish a sense of self-love and support for the self. And the green or blue tourmaline is said to be associated with more masculine aspects of compassion in the heart center. So a little bit more, I'd say a little bit more structured, a little bit less soft and free flowing. Both of which are necessary, both of which are needed, right? We need to have healthy boundaries in order to be able to engage in true compassion without it becoming codependence. And the way that I feel about the energetics of gemstones, these more esoteric energetics of gemstones, is that whether or not the stones themselves actually emanate these energies is debatable. Some people can feel them and some people can't. That's sort of not even the point. But for thousands of years, people all over the world have attributed these qualities to these stones. So either they were feeling them, or collective conscience has sort of imbued them with these qualities. And so there's no denying that they at least represent these qualities. And so for me, working from this model of, having worked for years as an herbalist and as a yoga instructor, and really having healing be such a central part of my thinking about the world and about my own life, having stones that work around compassion, that work around self-love and care, seems like an obvious marriage to me. So that's part of it, but then part of it is it's just so pretty. Stone. I mean, like, that's incredible. The earth made this thing. This is a slice of a crystal that was made in the earth. I mean, like, it just blows my mind. So that's part of it. Another reason is that the cut that I love to use, this rose cut, which is like this, where there's, it's faceted in this sort of funky way, where it's not like what we think of as a traditional faceted stone. That's done in tourmaline quite a lot. It's very easy to get a hold of tourmaline worked with that way, because if it's not high enough quality tourmaline, which basically means clear, super clear, and to my mind, kind of boring. If it's enough quality to do this super faceted thing with, then they don't really have an option. A lot of the stuff used to be garbage. They used to throw away these stones. So that's another sort of environmentally, now it's debatable, right? Because you increase the mining in order to get a hold of these stones now. But at the same time, this stuff that would have been essentially useless to the jewelry industry and really gotten tossed aside is now really having a heyday. So I'm sitting here looking, I have this whole pile of stones. I just got a shipment of stones from one of my suppliers, and I'm sorting them and weighing them all out. So I have this, like, I don't know if I can even make it visible on the video, this pile of beautiful little, they're like candies. I mean, they're so delicious.
Beautiful. Well, all of the Abra crew are wearing some of their favorite pieces that you made. So we can all show ours off for a minute, and I can start if you want to turn it over to me.
Sure.
Show off my two favorite pieces that we have in the store right now. So this is one of my favorites, Susan. This is coral on sterling silver. And then there are these 18 karat or 24 karat nuggets?
And that coral that's a really wonderful coral. There's only a couple of families in Italy that still have licenses to harvest coral. And so this is one of the, I think it's like 3 families that still ethically, legally has the right to harvest red coral.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love this because I love adding a little pop of red to an outfit. And I like it even more knowing now that it's from one of the few families that harvest it sustainably. This is one of my favorite pieces right now, the seed talisman. And this is sterling silver, correct? And then this is the, how do you pronounce this? Kambu technique with, it's 24 karat gold leaf, is that correct?
And that was the other demonstration I was thinking about doing. So I do a lot of that, and I didn't show any pieces. I'm glad you're showing that piece because I didn't show any pieces that use it. The earrings I'm wearing have also 24 karat, and not the earrings Natalie's wearing as well. Yeah.
So it's not just plated, it's actually fused together, correct?
Right. So it's an ancient Korean technique, and the idea is that it's something like between 20 and 50 times thicker than gold plating. And so it's literally, I'm taking the gold leaf and I'm fusing it to the surface of the silver.
Yeah, so it's not going to wear away like plating, right? So I really love this because it's meant to be played with, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just am sort of a fidgety person who always plays with her jewelry anyhow, and I love that I'm meant to play with this, and my thumb just fits so nicely in there, so and my index finger too, so I can play with it all day. And it's sort of like having like a worry stone or a stress ball with you, but of course it's much prettier, much more lovely than any stress ball out there.
Yeah, and that was actually very much the intention behind it. In yogic philosophy, we have this concept called sankalpa, which means it means, roughly speaking, planting a seed of intention. And so the idea was that you sort of, as you're wearing this, you plant your seed, and then every time you touch it, every time you place your thumb there, you're remembering this intention that you've set for yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful idea.
Thank you.
Mariah, do you want to tell us about your statement necklace that you're wearing?
Let me spotlight her.
Sure, as much as I know about it. Let's see. Mm-hmm. I think is it your wing goddess, or is this piece one of those?
It is, and I would almost call it from the Wonder Woman period.
Okay. I like the wider wings. I have one of your ear climbers, and I really love it. I lost one on a flight, but I regained one, so I still have one to get from you. But I just love the open work. And looking at you talk with your gold ring on, I love that on your hand so much. It looks gorgeous. And I could never wear it. It's too big. I try it on all the time. So I get to appreciate it on you. And anybody else that buys those. I think that's turquoise.
What stone is that? Yeah, turquoise.
Azurite malachite.
Yep, azurite malachite. So it's two stones, like a green and a blue all together. It's got a really cool, like, turquoisey effect almost too, which you don't usually see in that stone.
Victoria, what are you wearing today?
Hold on.
Unmute myself. Today I am wearing a cobalto calcite pendant that is pink. Oh. So we all know I love pink. It's just so tactile. If you look at the texture of it, there's all these crystals that are visible with those frogs that Susan does on the oxidized chain. And you can feel the stone in the back. And then I'm also wearing my Abra Japanese beads, Susan. These are I don't remember if it was an Abraversary or a birthday, but this is like the second piece in my own personal Susan collection, which I feel like I have these little disco balls next to my head, and the crystals in the cobalto calcite are also stunning. I love the stones that Susan picks out because each one has their own personality, and then her settings draw your attention to it without overwhelming them.
Thanks, Victoria.
Thank you.
Greta, do you have any of Susan's pieces on today?
You're muted. Can you?
Okay. All right. Yeah. So these are from the shop. These are, I think they're the rose petals. Are they rose petals?
Yeah.
And these have tourmaline in them. So they're the ones that have no tourmaline in them. These with the tourmaline. Susan, what was the significance of the rose petal specifically? I've always wondered.
The rose petal was designed during that 10-day festival that I was talking about. One of the main offerings that are made to the goddess of these rituals is rose petals. They're thrown on these representations of the goddess.
Excellent. And then this is a piece of mine that I really like, and it's one with the dendritic agate, which is one of my favorite things you work in. So that's a winged goddess piece with, again, just amazing that grew out of the earth.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Catherine, what are you wearing today? Thanks, Greta.
Like the red carpet.
What am I wearing? So you and I both love the worry necklace that your thumb fits in.
Yes.
And Am I unmuted? Yeah. And then I have, let's see if we can see these. Texture on sterling and also some heat added. So there's some rainbow color. I don't know if these are showing up very well. Let me move. The sun
Those
isn't.
are vintage me.
Yes, those are vintage you. And then there are these are also from my private collection, but we have these in the store and they're like a, what is that type of shell?
Chambered nautilus.
Yes. And then these are also from my private collection of Susan's, which are beautiful opals in an asymmetrical gradation of color. And there's a necklace as well. Pretty and also asymmetrical in lots of different colors. And then my ruby ring with 18 karat gold and black and silver and a very old vintage Susan, which is also.
That's when I came back from India the first time.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So yeah. So
yeah, there are full trips to India in there in the history that I forgot to mention. I lived in India for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Catherine. Anya, are you wearing any of Susan's pieces today?
You're muted. You're muted.
There we go. Hello. So I'm wearing a mishmash of things that are available for sale and things from my personal collection. So I'm wearing this little dendritic agate necklace. And just like everybody else, dendritic agate is one of my favorite things that Catherine, that Susan works in, because they're like little willow tree paintings, but they just grew in the earth, which is mind blowing. And one of the things that I love about every piece Susan makes is that it's like Victoria said, every piece is beautiful, but just is driven by the stone in particular. And I love that every necklace Susan makes, she actually makes the clasp as well. And then there's this really cool eye pendant. Is this pyrite?
Yeah, that one's pyrite.
Yeah, I love the rose cut pyrite. So this is one of your more literal pieces, I think, and I just think it's really whimsical and fun. And then there are these moon phase earrings, which is one of your collections that is one of my favorites. So you can kind of see that there's this really interesting, almost rainbowy patina. And again, they're kind of asymmetrical, which I really like too. And then there's this rhodochrosite ring that is one of my pieces. That's probably my favorite ring. It feels like it just grew on my finger.
Miley, just give a couple more minutes, okay? Everyone can hear you.
So that's it.
Milo.
Hi, Milo.
I love the moon phase series too.
Yeah.
My
It's hard to choose a favorite.
And Natalie Labruzzi, what do you have on today that Susan made?
I also have a pair of the rose petal earrings. And I actually got this as a gift, anniversary gift from Abra, which was really amazing. I really like them because I love that you can really see the handmade aspect in them. Every hammer blow that it would have taken to be able to form this shape. I feel like, connects me as the wearer with the maker. And as a maker too, I just really love to be able to see the handmade in a piece so vividly. I also just love how it's such a big gold look without, such a crazy price tag. And I really appreciate that because I love statement and loud. And so, yeah.
Thanks, Natalie. They look great on you.
Thank you.
So we can go back over to Susan now. So, all those pieces.
My mom says she's wearing a couple of pieces too.
Oh
yeah. What's Mom wearing?
They're from Mama Fauman.
Hold on, let me spotlight you. Do you need to be unmuted or can you unmute yourself?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, Mama Fauman.
So I'm wearing,
Oh, I love those earrings.
yeah, these are I think sapphire with the
Okay, so
also. And my newest favorite piece is the ring set, which is a ruby with gold bezel and the succulent. And just like someone else said, when I put it on, it felt like it had always been there. It was perfect size, feels wonderful. I wear it constantly.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you. So all those pieces and more are available through Abracadabra's website by giving us a call, or you can reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook or through email if you like.
And the pieces that I showed, the 2 rings and the tourmaline necklace and the boulder opal necklace, will also be available through Abra. So if anyone's interested about any of those, go ahead and contact them and I'll get the details over to them.
Okay, great. Thank you, Susan. Thanks so much for joining us today and telling us all about your craft and about your life experiences. We enjoyed the tour of your shop. You've really come a long way from working on a milk crate at the top of the stair. You've really made it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much. It was really fun, and it definitely made me, like, my cheeks are sore right now from like seeing you guys wearing all the stuff and talking about
That's kind of sore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well.